It was just past midnight in a quiet London suburb. The kind of night where the orange streetlights flicker, like they're trying to remember something, and the air feels heavier than usual, almost like it's carrying secrets. When 23-year-old Ethan Clark stepped off the last bus, headphones in, unaware that his life was about to unravel in a way no algorithm, no trending topic, no viral thread could ever predict. Because until that moment, his world had been painfully ordinary part-time barista, aspiring content creator, stuck in the endless scroll of other people's lives, while his own felt like it was buffering. But everything changed when his phone buzzed with a notification that didn't make sense, a message from an unknown contact saved under the name Tomorrow. And at first he laughed it off, assuming it was some weird marketing gimmick or a prank from his mates. But the message read, "Don't go home tonight. Trust me." And there was something about it, no emojis, no slang, just cold certainty that made his chest tighten. Still, logic won, and he started walking toward his flat, passing the usual late-night corners, the closed chicken shops, the silent windows of people living lives he'd never know, until he reached his building and noticed something off. The front door was slightly open, which never happened. And before he could convince himself it was nothing, his phone buzzed again. If you're reading this, you didn't listen. And suddenly the quiet street didn't feel safe anymore. It felt staged, like he'd stepped into something already in motion, something waiting for him to catch up. Heart pounding, Ethan pushed the door open anyway, because curiosity is louder than fear, and climbed the stairs, each step echoing like a countdown, until he reached his flat and saw the light on inside, even though he distinctly remembered turning everything off before leaving. And that's when the third message came through. He's already there. And every instinct told him to run, to leave, to pretend none of this was happening. But instead he opened the door slowly, breath held, and stepped into a version of his life that no longer belonged to him. Because sitting on his sofa, scrolling through his own phone, was someone who looked exactly like him. Same face, same clothes, same tiny scar above the eyebrow from when he fell off his bike as a kid. And the stranger looked up, smiled faintly, and said, "You weren't supposed to come back yet." Like Ethan was the intruder in his own story, and before he could speak, before he could even process whether this was some elaborate joke or a complete break from reality, his phone buzzed again in his trembling hand. The same contact. Tomorrow, with a final message that made everything worse. "Now you understand why you had to stay away?" And in that moment, Ethan realized this wasn't about identity theft, or hallucination or anything explainable. This was something else entirely, something that blurred time and self and choice. And as the version of him on the sofa stood up slowly, mirroring his every movement with unsettling precision, Ethan felt a terrifying clarity settle in. If that was him, then what exactly was he, and more importantly, which one of them was meant to exist tomorrow?